Hey everyone, in this video we're going to meet up with Mark. He's going to give us a tour of this beautiful tiny house that he built, and he's also going to talk to us a little bit about his experience living in a tiny house with his girlfriend. What's interesting is that he built this entire tiny house himself with zero building experience. He was able to build the entire tiny house in 8 months, and the whole project cost him a total of $30,000 Canadian. And that's including everything from the trailer, the materials for the tiny house, and even the cost of renting land while he was building the tiny house. So let's go meet up with Mark.
We were inspired to build a tiny house when we were living in BC. Back then we were renting, and we know we couldn't get into the housing market in BC. My girlfriend wanted a shipping container to begin with, but then with shipping container it was harder to work with, and it wasn't as mobile, so we decided to go with a tiny house. Back then I didn't have any carpentry experience, so decided one day to quit my job and take on a carpentry course, and that was the beginning of our tiny house journey. But then back then we didn't have much income, so we came back to Toronto, where my girlfriend got a job offer here, and we started building a tiny house near Toronto. We rented a contractor yard for like $300 per month, and I just started building in the fall. So I was building this house through the winter. Welcome to my tiny house. It's a house that I built by myself. It took 8 months to build. The tiny house is 28 foot long and 8.5 feet wide. We built it like that because we knew we were gonna be towing it in the road. We bought the plans from Tiny House Home Plan. It's a very popular plan down from Oregon, and we really liked the design because it fit our needs. Yeah, welcome to the kitchen of my tiny house. As you can see, a lot of the stuff are reclaimed, and a lot of the stuff we got from Kijiji. For example, we got the fridge and the oven. They're both from Kijiji used. The cabinets are all reclaimed. Someone was gonna throw all of these away, and we just bought it off the guy for $100 and just made it fit into our kitchen. Even with this sink, it's a pretty neat sink that we really like. We got this at the antique store. It wasn't too expensive. It was like $70. We built this house based on the budget. We knew we didn't want it to go over 30 grand, so we didn't want to save on the trailer, so we got a custom built brand new trailer, and then that was capable of holding like 14,000 pounds. We bought brand new lumbers, but a lot of the furnitures we bought used. So we designed the tiny house to be on-grid, but we knew we were gonna go off-grid, so we didn't want to have a big electricity draw for this house. So for our water heater we use propane, and also for the stove we use propane. So only this fridge is the biggest electric consumption. So I'll have to get solar panels, and I'll have to get an AC/DC converter to enable it to run off-grid. So the first place we parked was a trailer park, which we had access to water in the summer, but in the winter time it's a bit tricky because we had to store water indoor, since the water line in the trailer park freezes, so they disconnect all the water. We had to store water indoor, and we had to fill these 2 tanks up, which runs into the pump here, which is controlled by the AC/DC. And from the pump it goes into the main water line that distribute water to the house. So this tank is a 50 gallon, and this one is 30 gallons. In total is a 80 gallon, which only lasts us about a week, and that's with 2 showers per person per week. This is my workstation. Mostly only I use it. My girlfriend likes to hang out upstairs in the TV lounge. This is our living space. We like to sit here when we're having dinner and stuff, and just look at the fire in the winter. For our main source of heat, we went with this Cubic Mini. It's made in Montreal, Quebec, and it does heat this house very rapidly, and you can heat it up to 23 degrees no problem in the dead of winter. So this is a stove fan, and yeah, it draws the heat from the single wall stovepipe. This stove fan is powered by the heat, so as long as it hits about 100 degrees Celsius on the top of the stove, this fan starts kicking in. One thing I suggest is getting a single wall stovepipe to begin your 2-foot, and then it goes into a double wall stovepipe. The thing with a single wall stovepipe is you get a lot more heat into the house, and whereas like with a double wall, you're losing a lot of heat because it's not being used. You just go straight up into the chimney. But we also have a secondary electric heater, because we knew at night when we go to bed we wouldn't be able to put in any wood. So we use this with a thermostat. It's a electric infrared heater, and we usually set the thermostats to 14 degrees at night when we go to sleep, so at least we're not waking up to like freezing temperature. Okay, welcome to the bathroom of our tiny house. As you can see, it's very spacious in here. We even had, at one point, we even have a washing machine here, and we're using this for hang drying our clothes. But yeah, we also have a almost full-size bathtub. This is just like 6 inches shorter than the regular size bathtub. For our siding, we just went with a plexiglass over the cedar siding. It just sheds the water into it. It's a very cheap, efficient way of doing siding without adding much weight into the trailer. We just have a separate urine diverting toilet. We found it fits our need perfectly, and we never had any smell issues. We have 2 lofts. There's a small loft that we were using for a TV lounge, and that's the sleeping loft. And we put up curtains for privacy so that you're not getting any lights at night when one person's up. This staircase I sort of built from a stringer that we got. These aluminum stringers you can get them at any Home Depot, and we just sort of added these metal brackets to support it. We also use this metal pipe as a railing just because the stairs are very narrow, and this adds extra security to it. We put in a lot of storage, as you can see, in this tiny house. Like we got a lot of reclaimed cabinets, and we also have a shoe storage, a little small storage here and there. After we had the tiny house built, the hard part comes looking for a place to park. So we looked around and asked around places and put up a Kijiji ad. And we got hit from some property owner, but after visiting that place, it was not appropriate, and then he pointed out this trailer park in Stouffville. So we went to visit that trailer park, and apparently like the owner was fine with all-season living, and we got really lucky, and we just signed the lease, and we had a legal place to park our tiny house close to Toronto. It was paid per season. It only cost like roughly $300 per month if you work it out through the whole year. So we lived in the tiny house for a year and a half, but right now we're not living in our tiny house. Right now it's sort of just used for our guests, but the ultimate plan is to move this tiny house and live in it full-time in BC. And we actually bought a 10-acre lot, and it's completely off-grid. We're looking to move into that in the near future.
I hope you enjoyed touring Mark's house and hearing a bit more about his experience. If you want to see more stories of people living in tiny houses and tiny house tours, check out our playlists. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to see more like this.